The NeuroDADverse Podcast is produced by Squid Shack Studios.
Hey, I'm Ben.
And I'm Dan.
We're both fathers,
We're both married.
and we're both raising kids with diagnosed neurodiverse conditions.
Parenting is tough, and we're not saying it's harder for us, just different.
And sometimes that different can be hard to explain.
That's why we've created the NeuroDADverse, a weekly show where we share our wins, our challenges, and all the neurosparkly and neurospicy bits in between.
Our hope is to create a safe space for parents to share their own highs and lows of neurodiverse parenting. And just to remind you of three things.
You're doing great,
You are enough.
and you're definitely not alone.
So welcome to the NeuroDADverse. Oh my God, what's that over your shoulder? Is it the sunshine? Yes, it is. Welcome to the NeuroDADverse, the podcast for, about, and definitely by parents of neurodivergent children. I'm Ben. This is Dan. We're going to chat about all the things that have happened in our week, both win and challengey, to do with parenting our neurodivergent children. If you're new here, hello. If you're coming back and you hate this bit where I welcome new people, go away. People want to listen to it. And if you can't remember if you've listened, that's fine. Absolutely the same here. Dan, how are you?
Not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm all right. Oh, yes. Just continuing to do the teaching whilst quite a lot of students and ex-colleagues from different places are off. So it's a bit of a weird one.
Yes. Yeah, I'm officially on the second
It's,
day of Easter today.
Oh yeah, cool. So Frank is off school.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Cool.
Day 2. We was off Friday and
Oh, that's
recorded
why
on
I forgot to
Monday.
put my light on. Yeah, I forgot to put my I forgot to put my light on. Those watching on YouTube. Oh, so you're off on Friday as well?
He had an inset day Friday, yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
then we got our
Okay.
2 weeks. So, yeah, I've been non-stop 24/7 to quote one of my favourite Dougie episodes. Today it's been pretty much non-stop work whilst also entertaining. So tune in next week to see how that goes. How that
Exactly
went,
what I was gonna
sorry.
say. Yeah, of course. Classic NeuroDADverse twist and turn. We're recording on a Friday afternoon, hence all the Monday afternoon, in fact, hence all the sunshine. Nice, cool. Well, we usually start and kick off our week in 3 words, Dan. So why don't you tell me in your 3 words how your week was?
So my week in 3 words, I've got anniversary, buses, and winning. Because I couldn't really think of a third one, but I'm
No,
happy to
that's
say I've had a good week. So celebrate it when
Nice,
it
I like that.
happens.
Cool. I've got experiment,
Ooh.
communicate, and collaborate, which is
Okay.
very, very exciting. Cool. So we normally kick off with some challenges, have a bit of a break, come back and talk about some wins, and then look ahead to the week ahead and have a small little dance. So stick around if you want to see what that looks like. Cool. Dan, why don't you tell me about your biggest challenge of the week?
So potentially, I'm smirky because I just literally thought of this actually. So one of my challenges this week with the clocks going forward, really could have done with that extra hour over the weekend with activities planned and whatever else. My main challenge is kind of tied into my win, so I won't. I don't want to talk about it too much now because I will talk about it a little bit more in the win bit.
Sure.
The sort of newest challenge, from a healthcare perspective, I think it's potentially worth discussing in our forum for other parents to see if maybe they can give me some advice. So Frankie, let's say, for a number of weeks now, does a stim where he hits his chin with his hand with some
Yeah.
metal car, plastic toy, whatever. He's now, I don't know if this is a result of the stim hitting or just that he was kind of fighting a cold. Me and him were sort of a little bit sneezy for a couple of days, middle of the week. He's got really bad cracked lips. I say really bad. I don't know on a scale of 1 to 10 how bad, but he's got
cracked lips.
obvious red crack marks on the top
top
lip and a little bit on the bottom. And he's very much in a doesn't like his hands being remotely wet, so he's always trying to he's rubbing his hands up clothes, walls, towels when he gets out of the bath. So he's not really a fan of having the lip balm stuff, like the Vaseline and stuff on there, which would obviously help his lips. So we're just trying to navigate that, because obviously the more he hits his face, the more it's gonna irritate the lips, and you can tell that the lips are starting to irritate him. And I've also noticed now that one of his fingertips and his thumb, the skin's starting to come away, so I think he's maybe starting to bite his fingers, maybe where he doesn't have a stim toy at school is my only thing. He always has something at home, but I'm just like, when he gets out of the bath now, I can kind of see that he's just having skin challenges, I suppose. So lips and fingertips.
Maybe
trying to navigate.
Maybe it would be a case of trying to, as soon as he's out of the bath, like dry him and then put that the lip stuff on straight after that, because it's like I have to get everything dry. Maybe you could apply that then, so it's linked to the bath, because he's comfortable with his hands being wet in the bath, right?
Yeah,
He's just out of the bath. Yeah,
he's to be fair, he actually does let us apply cream to his skin, because he gets quite bad heat rash and a little bit of eczema. So in the context of post-bath routine, he's actually fine with being like us caking cream on
process,
him,
right?
so it doesn't bother him. But like now, if he's eating the yogurt and a little bit splashes on his hand, or he's having his cereal and a bit of milk splashes, he will be like, and straight away like rubbed it on the table, or he doesn't want it on him. So we're just starting to
maybe it's that. Maybe it's putting it into the routine of the other creams, I guess.
So yeah, that's only been a day or two.
Have you just seen that as a continuation of the stimming, do you think, or has the stimming increased recently, you think?
I don't think the stim has increased. Yeah, I don't think the stimming has increased. He's doing it a lot. Like, I'm constantly, we are everyone, if ever it's me, my mum, my dad, Amy, whoever, we're all like, stop that, no hitting chin. Like, we're saying different phrases to see what one will sort of stick. And he looks at us, and most of the time he's like, yeah, okay, fine. But because it just kind of sprung on us the last 48 hours, and we're not really sure why. He's been outside a little bit more, because obviously to him it's sunny, but it is cold, so it might be a little bit windswept.
Yeah.
And then it being hitting his mouth with the. So yeah, I don't know. Like, arguably, if someone's new going, what your biggest challenge is, your son's got sort of chat lips. It could end up being quite a chat, because obviously he loves to eat as well. So it's not going to get rest. Basically, is what I'm more forward thinking about the challenge. But yeah, so yeah, I think that's a good idea, trying to get him to try to get the lip balm into like a part of the routine. As we're now off for Easter for 2 weeks, obviously all the routines are going to change or are different.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, not the greatest challenge, but I will talk about another Splice of Life challenge a little bit in the win section.
Yeah, cool.
What about you, sir? What have you found challenging this week?
This was like an observation that that kind of made me zoom out and think about the wider challenge of things. So we had to do with Mabel, and we had cause to stay over at a hotel during the week because she had a school trip.
Yep.
And then rather than the school trip, like get back late to her school, me pick her up and then we drive quite a way to the school. And I just thought, well, we'll get a cheap hotel nearby just to make sure that she could regulate and not have to have too much of a time, particularly if the travel out of the big city was a bit too much. But in all that extra kind of planning before leaving for school, I left my bag, which had like my work laptop in. It wasn't ideal, no. Also, that bag contains Mabel's medication that I give to her on the way. The medication that she's been on now for about 3 months, and we were just been signed on to co-ownership or whatever it is, co-care between the ADHD people that we have used for the right to choose pathway and our GP. So that would mean that on the Wednesday and then the Thursday, she would have 2 days where she wasn't medicated. And yeah, how it manifested itself was sleeping on the bus on the way up there. Apparently, she reported sitting and needing to stim with something while watching the theatre performance. She said her friends were passing her stuff like empty cardboard boxes that like little cardboard, like sweet cardboard things that they had or whatever, and she was just like doing a lot of that. She said it was weird. I just couldn't seem to concentrate. I thought, okay. And then the second in the interval,
resonate.
yeah, right. So she then she said a member of staff asked her if she was okay at the interval, and she's like, "Yep, I just need to move." And she was just, I don't know. She just said she was moving around. I don't think she was dancing, but like she's just wandering around. And she said, she said second half, I was really into the play, but I couldn't keep my eyes on the stage. I was darting around. And then she was like, I almost like burst out in tears towards the end because of something that she knew what was going to happen, but the way they presented it was really kind of time motion. And then she slept all the way back, and she looked like, when I collected her from the coach, her eyes were like wide, like a puppy looking for stuff. And I was like, oh, that's a look in her eyes that I've not seen for a long time before. Like, and then we got to the like hotel, the like budget hotel. I walk in. Oh, she doesn't stop talking from the time I pick her up, like just motor mouth about everything that's happened, but also covers about 6 different topics, jumping around. I thought, oh, this is a lot of energy for whatever it was, 8 o'clock on a Wednesday night. And it had like a restaurant attached to it. So I was like, it's gonna be easy. And I'd laid out some like non-school clothes for her to wear in the room, the twin room that we were sharing. And I said, right, we got 20 minutes, sit down, get changed. Well, the kid must have been up and down about 8 times for different reasons. And I try not to make light of it, but it was like, oh look, Dad, here's the controls for the heating in the room later. And then there was like a couple of menus on the table, as there is in these like tons of places. Just, oh, what are they? Are they the coffee cups? Why are they see-through coffee cups? Are they made of? But she'd go back and sit down and just be. And I was just kind of across the room, sat on my chair, and I thought, I don't need to interrupt this. This is just how she is, and her body's just probably reacting to the fact that she hasn't had that 8 hours of noise calming, I would call it, I guess,
quite a
if
time.
I'm phrasing it.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think it's way too simplistic to say, oh, when you take these pills, you focus. When you take these pills, you're unfocused. It's. I think everyone's journey with meds for this are different. And of course, met one neurodivergent person, you've met one neurodivergent person, right? However, it was really stark to see that.
So in
And
terms of do you feel like complacent's not the right word. Do you feel that you've become very quickly adapted to like this different behavior type since being on the medication, and then you're like been sprung back to, wow, is this what this was like? Or was it more extreme because it was just the first time?
I think it was more extreme because I was very well, like obviously until a diagnosis, you're not really aware of what someone's like necessarily without the medication, because you're not seeing that. But this
Yep.
was very, very stark. Also, it was quite focused because I was obviously wasn't a normal day. It was out of.
You're
So
in
there might
close
have been
proximity
just
as
other
well,
things like
aren't you?
she had like adrenaline and she was enjoying it. But then we had dinner, and like she'd be like explaining to the wait staff like what she'd want without me prompting her, and there's always sometimes a little bit of anxiety there, and it was like, and so there was a bit of a mask as well and performing, and I was just like, oh, I'm just going to have a nice meal and a nice chat about whatever she wants to chat about. I'm going to try not to be analytical. You don't often get those moments with your teenager. And the next day was, relatively deregulated at school, some stress about some subjects and stuff like that. But it was just a nice, I think in all, it was nice to be able to go, and that's why I put experiment. It's like we kind of landed on that experiment because I forgot to pack that stuff, but actually it's very interesting for Mabel to reflect on it. And I think the challenge, well, it's not really for me to speak about her challenge, but I've certainly felt the challenge because she's at school and the time she started taking pills for this condition when she's at school. I think she likened it to being, this is what helps me focus at school. And she'd gone through that thing of like saying, I don't really like it. Kind of takes away all of my crazy thought. all my thoughts come back at the end of the day. And actually, she's like, oh, do I need to take it at weekends or whatever? So I said, well, yeah, because it's not just about this. She hadn't really, until this week, I don't think she necessarily believed that the pills help just bring it into, let's do this and that, and just slows down her processing and her impulsivity and the things that make life difficult.
As you're saying that, I kind of visualize like a dam. The pills build a dam just to slow it down. So
yeah,
and then when they wear off the dam, and then you get the sort of rush of everything. So
yeah. So it was really challenging in the moment because of the overstimulation, but then it was like just accepting that, kind of not in, again, it's not that, not in charge, just giving structure for her to do that. So yeah, I think I've had enough time away from it now to kind of zoom out and go, okay, well, she slept the night, she got all the way up to the performance, did the performance, nothing like unraveled massively, like she didn't go wandering off from the school thing. So she had her core, like a thing, and we ate dinner together. It's fine. She got up at the right time. She got ready. So it was, yeah, but in the moment, very challenging. And I think challenging for not for me to go, oh, this would be better if you were medicated. Because that's not what I thought. I had a great time. We hung out and it was not a problem. But the support, being a supportive parent, was challenging because I could see in like real clear examples right in front of my eyes what it would mean for her to come off of those, to be unmedicated in that moment. So yeah, nice confirmation that they are doing some good. But yeah, the conversation around like, this is what it's going to hopefully help you with, was really good, because I don't think she'd noted the social things until very recently. So yeah. I don't know.
no, that's
I
fair.
was really beating myself up on the drive as soon as I realized that I didn't have the pills, because it was like, or my bag, because I had that anxiety. But then I thought, well, it's going to be like, I was trying to do worst case scenario, like, fine, what's it going to be? Why am I anxious about this? It's just going to be what it's going to be, So yeah, we are.
And sort of back into the routine of things now then, like being back on them for a few days.
Yeah. So interestingly, when we returned back on Thursday evening, I said, "All right, where's your pills?" She went, "I'm just going to go see a mate, Dad." I said, "What do you think?" Like I just said, "What do you think about taking your pills now?" She went, "Well, I don't know." And then I said, "Well, what are your plans?" She told me her plans of where she was going to go. And as she was listing them, she went, Okay, I'll take them. So yeah, that's kind of
Well, that's good.
beginning to work it out. Cool. All right. So we will be probably nipping out for a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll hear some wins that are part of our week. See you in a bit. Got a question or want to share a story? Drop us a message on Instagram or email us at NeuroDADverse@gmail.com. Look after yourselves. Welcome back into the NeuroDADverse, the podcast for, about, and definitely by parents of neurodivergent children. Danny and I are here chatting about our challenges and our wins, and this is the section of the podcast where we will talk about our wins with our very neurosparkly and neurospicy children. Dan, what was your biggest win of the week, my friend?
So I do have a couple of little wins this week. Just want to say we went 4 for 4 in school buses, so we're 9 for 9 after having the worst actual week on record. So strong end to a challenging term. Yep,
that is
strong finish, Frank.
Good energy, my friend. Good energy.
So yeah, that was really good. So just to say, just something clicked, and we went 9 for 9 as opposed to like 2 for 5 the week before that. So and then anniversary was my first word. It was my name is when anniversary. Sunday.
Amazing.
We had which is why we're recording on Monday. So we went up to London town and had a really lovely roast in a restaurant and just chilled and walked around and got myself she wanted to take me to a particular hot chocolate place to get a hot chocolate, which I had on the go, and it was good. It was just nice. It was just really, really nice. And my mum and dad had a play date with Frankie, and we came home before the bedtime. Normally when we go out before bedtime or after bedtime. But it was actually really nice to go out, have a day, and then come back and be able to do bedtime routine or whatever together. So that was nice. So my main win, buses was one of my words. So obviously mini buses, we were at 9 for 9. We planned to do an out on Friday because we had an inset day, and we've had success historically trying new things on days where obviously most of the other children locally are in school. So hopefully things aren't as busy. There's been a new swimming pool / leisure centre open a bus ride away from us, and one of the buses that we can get, because we are very lucky and very well connected where we live, actually once we get on the bus stop is directly outside the entranceway for the new centre. So I was like, let's try it, because in theory we've only got to go 3 meters to get to where we got to go.
Yep.
How challenging could it be? So yeah, we went to try out the new swimming pool because Frankie does like swimming and we haven't been for a while. So we walked. I showed him pictures on my phone because I didn't have any printed for his social story board that we have on the table.
Okay.
I showed him picture of the bus that we were getting with the actual number. Like we Googled the bus and we're like, getting bus and we're going to go swimming, and showed him a picture of the swimming pool that we would be going to via the website now that they've got the photos online. And we left the house. We did have to wait at least a couple of minutes because the bin lorry had to come down the road at the time we were going to leave, and that's quite a loud noise, and Frankie doesn't like those kinds of noises. But he managed to recover quite well, and he followed us, held my hand for some of the way, walked to the bus stop, waited about 3-4 minutes for the bus, which was good. He was happy singing to himself and sort of sitting around the bus stop. We got on the bus. It got busier as we went because that bus was not as direct, so it was a longer journey. It was like a 40-minute bus ride as opposed to a 20-minute bus ride, but we had a 3-second walk as opposed to a 5-minute walk when we got there. When we got off the bus, it is a very loud, busy town centre. He did drop to his knees and kind of did a little knee walk while he was sort of regulating and working out what we were doing. But once we said, we're going in here, he walked straight in, and the foyer area was very nice. There was a cafe right in front, and immediately Frank locked eyes on a chocolate red velvet cake that was sitting there on the side. So I was like, that could be a challenge. So it was still quite busy because he's only been open a week, despite it not being as busy because all the kids were there. It was just busy with people. And the reason it was a little bit challenging, and so coming to my challenge bit, we went to do family day out swimming. We didn't do any swimming, but we still had a really lovely time, which is why it's in the wing
Okay.
column. So the main activity wasn't done, but we managed to get 2 buses, go to a new place, visit a new place for nearly an hour, and get home without too much dysregulation. There was moments of it, but we managed to come home and then still have an afternoon. So Amy queued up for the tickets. Because it's a brand new building, everything's automatic doors, and it throws Frankie off a little bit because obviously they move when he's not expecting. So trying to get him through the initial barrier to go into the leisure centre section,
Sure.
we spent on and off an hour. Our time was 90 minutes for our swimming block. We spent an hour of that time trying to get him through. We got him into the initial change, the outer sort of sanctum of the changing rooms where you actually split off male, female, and whatever. And because those doors again opened at him, he would then just keep running back to the foyer. He basically found the foyer very calming because we spent a lot of time there. So we just went, we're not going to try this. We went and bought him that slice of red velvet cake because it was the last slice on the side. We sat down. He had some of the packed lunch we brought. We had a drink each, and we just sat there like documenting, filming, and giggling, being like, we've come swimming. We've ended up treating it like a cafe, and now we're going to get the bus home. When he started to show signs of being a bit desegregated, we went, okay, to go home, we need to stand on the other side of the road, and it is a main road. It is bus stop central. There's like 10, 12 buses that go through this. There's always a bus. It's always loud. It's the challenge. I was kind of hoping if we did the swimming, he would be a bit more sort of maybe relaxed about it. But I think that a win from this was, I think he knew that he wanted to go home, so therefore he paid more attention to what we were saying, and he was more willing to follow us. So I said, hold my hand, we walk this way.
Really starting to have the cognition to be like, we came here, now we're going home. Yeah, nice.
Well, yeah,
And
I just thought it was
again-
more like, I want to go home, Dad, so tell me how I get home and we'll go home. And that was just a really eye-opening, like, wow, that's normally a
Nice.
challenge is getting home.
And again, might take you, who knows, it might take you 3 or 4 more visits before you actually get in the water. But ultimately, it's about like going with your child to a new place and trying to experience it over and over again.
Exactly.
Which is nice.
And that's why it was the win. Like, we haven't got on a bus in a long time. We haven't got on that bus, I don't think, ever. So it was a new bus,
Yeah, nice.
new place, lots of noise, busy.
Oh, that's great.
But we still managed to make something of it. But yeah, so hopefully next time we go, he'll just hop off the bus and go straight in. And hopefully we can.
Feels like crucially, you and Amy were like seeing that as a win day.
100%. Yeah. I'll say it's kind of weird.
But
Like the challenging part
you
of
would
it
be
was.
forgiven.
Yeah.
You would be forgiven for thinking this was a real awful day. We planned to go swimming. Couldn't get him into the pool.
Yep.
Couldn't get him into the changing room. He kept running away from us.
Yep.
We ended up just getting him cake and having a packed lunch, which we could have done anywhere else. Now we're on the bus going home. Like, as a parent, if you're listening to this, you probably sometimes think you've had those days where you have a good idea to go, but sometimes it just doesn't go that way, and you think, oh, that's a waste of time, or we didn't do much there, or oh, we paid to go into that zoo and they ran around it in 5 minutes and had to go home. It's still time where your child is learning what's happening, and it will work. That sounds great.
I definitely feel as well sort of maturity on our part, not in a sort of fullest extent of the word, but again, having
Or experienced.
or just having doing the podcast every week, like you say, just the power of chronicling the whiz.
Yeah.
We now look at that, like when we did the beach day, and I was like, that was one of the toughest days. Episode 10 it was, if I didn't put it in the show notes last week.
There we go.
When we attended a beach day, there was no sea. It
Yeah.
was a catastrophe in many respects, but we managed to save Frankie's mood. We went on, did something else, and we had a nice day from it. I think after having that day, our approach to everything else is kind of like, well, actually, if we can just go out and just see what happens and we get home and we haven't actually had a meltdown, that is actually a win. So
Exactly,
the challenging part of it was we were like, it's the bittersweetness of, we were so close to achieving swimming. All we needed
No,
to
no.
do again was like 3 or 4 meters through that door. He would have got changed. He would have been in the water. Could have had a lovely time, but we
If you
still had a lovely time. The lovely
if you
time was
did it
just
all, if you did it all on journey 1, what would be the point going back?
that is true, I suppose, as
Of
well.
course,
So,
right?
so like that was the challenge was just actually like new places that are more inclusive and think more
Of
about.
course.
So they didn't have loud music and they didn't have loud speakers, but
Nice.
move
Okay.
indoors,
Oh, was it
sensory-based
was it
things.
at a particular time when they were saying it was more inclusive?
No, but in terms of how they
Okay.
design, like how
Yeah.
they
I see.
like
Yeah.
their everything's a lot more disabled friendly, and so it's which is great and as things should be. But some of those like modern things of everything's sensor based, and if you walk, it moves. That actually throws him a little bit
Cool.
because
Yeah.
that's his
Yeah.
sort of thing of it. So it's
But
convenient
again,
for
it's
lots of
all
people, but I think-
it's all feedback, isn't it?
yeah,
It's all
totally.
sensory feedback.
But I must
Well, that's
say
great.
the staff were amazing. One of them was like the person that served us was like, if you don't actually go in, you should ask for a refund. And we were like, it's okay. We come here with the expectation of we're going to try this and see
Yeah.
how it works. And they was like constantly helping us by opening the gate because he knew what was
Also-
expected of him, but he was just trying to G himself up to go through the doors, and then he had to go through another set of the same sort of moving doors. It was just too
Yeah, I'm
much.
giggling because I like having memories of times when we were really struggling with Oscar at the opening or the beginning of something like I don't know, a park or a zoo or a
Mhm.
leisure center or something. And members of staff have said, look, if you guys end up not doing whatever the thing is, you can ask for a refund. And I remember kind of going, I know it looks right now like we probably aren't going to do anything, but it's very possible in about 10 minutes we could be through doing the thing. So don't like, yeah, not to be rude to those members of staff, but I think when you see a parent looking like they're just struggling to maintain their sanity with the neurodivergent child, I do think sometimes your brain might go, "Oh, it's going to be unfair because they're not going to actually have do what they paid for." But it can change on a pinhead like that. So, but yeah, that sounds like great
Absolutely.
feedback.
Yeah.
Why beside that cafe if they don't have a real red velvet cake next time you go? By the way,
Well, this is that was the other thing
You'll
I
have to-
said on the bus home. I'm
Do you
like,
do this
"That's the
every
thing
week?"
now?" Yeah. But again, it could be worth it for just the experience of him getting him
Yeah,
out,
of
and
course.
so we haven't really
Absolutely.
done a lot of going out into public, just because of the challenges we know that can be faced, and we sort of it's easier to do certain activities if you know you're going to a particular place. So if we're going somewhere
Why-
new, we don't
yeah.
expect too much. Like it's not that we're trying to shield him from the world, but like we have a greater chance
oh,
of
don't-
success
I
if
get
we
it.
do this.
Why would
But yeah.
we are going to give you increased amounts of sensory feedback so we can try and go and do a thing. Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. But yeah, it's a bit of a line.
But
isn't it?
it was a win. It was just a bit bittersweet that we were so close, but yet so far. But
Yep.
he had a good time, and so did we. Well,
Nice.
I was explaining to my friends when I went out on the Saturday. I was like, we went swimming, but we didn't go swimming, and they looked at me like you said, like, well, that sounds like a disaster. And well, we just have a different way of looking at it, and we did all these things which were big wins, which means we might be able to do it again next time. I'm like, oh yeah, fair play.
Mm.
I was like, was
I
it like
spend a
the
lot of
most
time
fun I've ever
chronicling-
had? No, but it was
But
fun.
was
from
I
a family.
chronicling my joy?
Yes,
I
yeah,
was
that's it.
chronicling my joy.
That's the
And then
one.
your friends all lean in and go, what does that mean? And you go, well, just talk about or write down all the things that are joyful about your day or
That's
in
it.
relation to your child.
So but yeah,
Um,
that's enough. That's enough from me. That
nice.
was a visit to a new place that was
So-
semi-successful.
Laura and I also went away this weekend. We went away to see some bands with some friends, which was lovely. It's catch up. But the kids went for a sleepover with my mum, and Oscar was with a sleepover with my mum. And then Mabel had decided to kind of stay over at her friend's house, but she had to make some choices and decisions and communicate with my mum about that. Classic 15-year-old stuff, but as I've just told you, Mabel will sometimes struggle to do those things in the right way. And it went off okay. Like she made those independent choices. She
Good.
was communicating with both us, even though we were really far away. yeah, really nice. Just to see her message us and be like, yeah, cool. I've locked, I've nipped home to get something, but I've locked the door and I've told so and so, and I've done this, I've done that. I'm going to be there, and I'll be there by this time. And just that kind of thoughtful thing was really quite nice. But mainly the biggest win or nice moment was one of the weeknights. I was there at home. Oscar asked if they could play some gaming. I had said they could do if they attended school. So yeah, and they, as a team, we collaborated and finished. I can't remember which story, the character's name, but it was a Resident Evil. So like one of the horror jump scare games that they've been playing that we tended to play together. They did all the fighting. I did all the puzzling because their approach to puzzles was very similar to their approach to fighting, which was a bit button mashy. And I was like, you have to think about this logically a little bit. And they got too frustrated and they were excited. So we had some kind of like fun back and forth because it's a single player game, the Resident Evil games. So yeah, nice. And they didn't have too many nightmares, and they are on at me about us starting a new campaign with a different one. So we'll take that slowly. But yeah, Oscar and I continue to communicate and build a relationship, I think, through our joint gaming, which is nice. I talked before about the podcast. If it wasn't for Oscar's interest in computer gaming and my willingness to kind of throw myself into that world a bit more than I have, because I wasn't a huge gamer as I was a kid. But yeah, I do enjoy it. Like, it was the only thing that really got them to come and spend time with me in our previous house when Oscar was really young, because I'd turn it on really loud. And you just kind of find your child where they are, and that's their language. That's kind of nice as well, because there's no nostalgia for me. It's not like, oh yeah, I played this game when I was a teenager. I never played them before. I obviously know about the franchises and stuff, but I've never played them. So it's kind of nice.
That's lovely.
And yeah, it's good, and they are continually asking. So they obviously enjoyed the scenario, but we are working out that it's got to be on their terms. So we're trying to wrestle some of that stuff back and say, well, only if you do this, then we can do that. So sticking with the when thens.
You've got to get a when then in your love. You are the king of when then.
Almost a decade of when thening on a daily basis.
That's
But
brilliant.
it works. It works for us.
Nice.
It works for Oscar.
Can I ask the
so
question
that-
on so with you going away
Yeah.
and staying away, how do the kids sort of take that or get on with that? Like, do they just go, yeah, okay, cool? Or is it more of a, do you have to build in a leeway and go, remember, we're going away? Like, just because obviously from a comms point of view, it was really nice to hear that Mabel was sort of coming up with what she was going to do and just communicating effectively. So obviously that seems
so the
like they're
plan,
quite calm.
obviously there's a plan, which is, we are going here, you are doing this. And Oscar goes, yep, okay. And they know that they will do some watching of a film with Nana, like they have their plan.
Nice.
Mabel will sometimes decide that she's been a bit more independent, so she might get some things. But as it is, I don't think the communication devices are the thing that makes this happen. I definitely remember deciding, I've been asked if I can sleep over at my mate's while I was out with them playing football. And we went back to someone's house and their parent was like, oh, you can stay over if you like. And I have to get on the phone and phone my mum. Like, it's the same thing. So when you're 15, I think it just happened. So she's pretty communicative, and that's fine. And my mum gets that as well. So yeah, it didn't. We've managed to. It happens so rarely that it's also a scenario where we don't go kind of regularly. Oh, can you have them this weekend? It's like, oh, yeah, like make it a fun thing for them as well as as well as us, I guess.
Okay.
So yeah,
So it doesn't sound like it's. I was just trying to sort of gauge like if there
it
was
wasn't challenging.
anxiety
It wasn't
around it,
challenging.
or if there was on either side.
No, they've both got really, really positive relationships with both of their grandparents, their nana and their grandma, and my dad too, but he doesn't live as close. So
No, that's cool.
yeah,
Was this the nana the last time they went? They walked around the fish and chip shop.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
that
No,
didn't
that's
happen
nice.
this time because yeah, you're right. Oh, good remembering. Oh, I'd forgot I'd chronicled
It's one
that.
of my
Oh, yeah,
things,
nice.
mate. I remember lots of things. It's whether I can recall them when I need them. That's the thing. But no, it's just lovely to hear that. Obviously,
Nice.
you can enjoy going away because you're not worrying like that. You just
100%.
felt like there wasn't
Yeah,
any
100%.
anxiety in
Like,
the situation.
don't get me wrong, there's a couple of moments where you're like, oh, are they gonna tell someone what they're doing or whatever? But yeah, no.
Brilliant.
It's a lot of those building trust in those moments. So yeah, really good stuff. Right, well, we are one day into it, but we don't want to spoil it for everyone because if you're listening to this, I will about to have just begun my Easter break, and Danny will be in the middle of it. So in the run up to that week, we will be. Oh, I've got myself in a time loop. When you hear us next week, we will be discussing what that lead up for me and the first week of Easter was like for Dan. So it's time for our little dance and a look ahead to the week ahead. It's look ahead to the week ahead. Good energy. Dan, what's going on this week?
So, as you've already alluded to, we are living live first week of our Easter break. We've got a mixture of in and out days. So we've had some people over today, but I'll talk about that next time. We've got some of the Send Gym. We generally put a couple of sessions in there, and as the fallback, if something else comes up and we end up doing other things, that's fine. He's going to his club that he normally goes to in the middle of the week, so I get some work time in. But Amy is also off, and Amy is off because "but" is a negatively charged word. And Amy is off for the first week, so we are having family days in the ins and outs, and that's going to be really nice.
Going swimming?
Well, we might try that again. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe he likes the hustle and bustle. There is an argument, and sometimes that's. I think I might have discussed this on the few weeks ago when I said we went to my school friend's kid's birthday and they had a UV soft play party bus, and they were like, right, we're going to take all the kids in to eat. Frankie can go on. I'm like, sometimes it's that sort of classic neurodivergent delayed processing where I'm like, actually, you need to show him what to do and what's expected. So there's an argument. If we went when it was busy, if he could handle the auditory volume, watching all these other people and other kids his age walking through the barrier would actually probably be a good thing, but we won't know. And obviously, if it goes bad, it goes bad.
Of course.
But yeah, so there is an argument. It could be worth trying, but we'll see.
Well, here's the thing: how allowing your child to go into a busy area and assess and go, this is very busy. This is what this looks like. I'm going to get this, or I'm going to go over there in that corner and regulate. I wonder where they're all going. I'm going to go find out when they've all gone, or something like that thought process.
Yeah.
And this is why it's that kind of ongoing thing of like the world's really not made up for people who are neurodivergent, so they have to experience it to work out how they're going to navigate it.
Yeah.
And whilst I'm not suggesting that supermarkets shouldn't turn the lights down and turn the music off for like access for people, I am also saying if a train is busy, that's good feedback for that neurodivergent child.
Yeah.
Because they are going to be an adult experiencing a busy train, hopefully, at some point.
Yeah, cool. Another point on that, when we were going to London, well, there was a busker. I'll go to these stations quite a lot, and I've never seen or heard a busker there. And I was like, it's little things like that, isn't it? And like, if we were here with Frank now, we're underground, there's a loud noise. We can't really tell them to stop, nor would they if they saw. But yeah, just from meters away, because it's underground and the sound obviously carries, that entire journey of trying to get from a train above ground actually can be really deregulating. But to everyone else, it's just pleasant. Someone singing or someone playing an instrument. So yeah, just there's we might try again. I don't think it's on it for week 1, but maybe I think there might be in week 2. The reason we wanted to do the run up was we might be going with some of our other send friends that we go to the gym with, because they said, we would like to go.
Just thinking, yeah.
But the scenario will be different, because obviously everyone's going to have their own kids to watch. I had Amy on Friday. I might not have Amy next time, so we'll see. But gives you a good reason to come back, listeners and viewers, and see how it goes. But yeah, that's our week. It's an activity in and out, and as a family, which will be nice.
Cool. Nothing for us. Mabel has some football training on a Tuesday as regular. It's a regular school week, so there'll be some school attendance. There is a little meeting with Oscar's school that Laura's going to on Wednesday, just continuing some stuff about how to support them. And then the Easter weekend, we don't have plans. I think it's going to be a nice moment for us to just take a pause and go, woof, that term was a thing. So yeah, just continuing to try to get them to be encouraged to attend and get involved in school in the way that we want them to build that kind of resilience. So
use it's the last week as an advantage. Like, it's last week, we can do this.
Yeah, maybe. But also chunking it down.
Not convinced, but
let's just do a Tuesday. Do you know what I mean? Like,
no,
a week is a big thing to. So and I think there's a Mario. Is there a Mario movie?
I believe so.
I'm not sure when that's out, but that will be something that we will all go to, because Mabel said Oscar's definitely going to see this. Text me the other day.
I still haven't seen the first one, but my local cinema is definitely getting decorations and all the merch out, so I'm assuming it's this week. It's ideal time, isn't it? Cinemas full of kids movies now, or younger people movies, like the teenager films are out as well, aren't they? So
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's.
You don't really get action films during Easter holiday, so. Although I did like Project Hail Mary, but I don't think that will get a lot of screening time over Easter.
I haven't seen it, but I do think if we have a chat about contemporary mainstream cinema, I'm just going to complain about how much of the movie comes out before people go and see it, because I'm a purist, and that's okay. But
maybe we'll start that side podcast up at another time, and we'll sorry I brought it up. I should have realised. Bad, Dan. Don't distract.
Why teenagers are watching films wrong with Ben and Dan? Just some older guys complaining about how teenagers watch films. It's a little bit close to my workplace, to be honest. That's what I do in film class all day. No, I'm kidding, of course. Well, thank you very much if you've got to this part of the podcast, and if for any reason you're thinking, you know what, that's given me cause to go back and think, what was the little chunk of a win that I had this week parenting my kids? Because that's what it's all about, really. I always say at this time of the podcast that Dan and I would probably have these conversations each week anyway. We'd just stick microphones and cameras in front of us and just continue to do that. We are continuing to be astounded that on episode 42, Dan?
Yes, 42.
Yeah. We are continuing to have people who listen regularly from all over the world and watch us also on YouTube. So if you want to get in touch and talk to us about anything at all, please do. We are on TikTok and Instagram, NeuroDADverse, and also we have our email, which is the NeuroDADverse@gmail.com. I've forgotten some things. I think there's 3 more things to say, but Dan always remembers them. So here he is to send us off.
So part of our founding ethos of the podcast was to just constantly remind people that you are doing great, you are enough, and you're definitely not alone. Have a winning week, everyone. Happy Easter.
That's about it for the NeuroDADverse. We'll be back next week.
If you laughed, cried, or nodded in tired agreement, don't forget to follow us and leave a review. It helps more parents find us.
Just remember, you're doing great.
You are enough, and you are definitely not alone.
Got a question or want to share a story? Drop us a message on Instagram or email us at NeuroDADverse@gmail.com. Look after yourselves.